Hey y'all, welcome back to Ray of All Trades. We were given a Kubota G5200 hydrostatic diesel. Just needs to be cleaned off. I was told it was running when parked, but it's been parked for a number of years now. Oh, that's very solid. We could put a bracket on the back of there, make this thing just a towing machine. So 5 lug axles. I don't know what size the deck is, but it looks to be about 60 inches, something like that. Let's see. Looks like a made in Japan G5200 H. Big solid front axle. Tires probably need some tubes, or at least a little love. It's not frozen up, just got a lot of dirt. Man, this thing is heavy as can be. Can't tell how many hours are on it. I wasn't able to turn the steering wheel, and I don't know if it's power steering or if it's manual steering. So something might be locked up there. Liquid cooled 3-cylinder diesel. I think when I was looking, I want to say this is like a 14 horsepower. So needs a little love. I mean, you can see the pulley kind of did some rust checking on here, wrapped around the belt, but it's complete. Before we try to start it, we're definitely going to make sure that Fluffy hasn't moved in here. But yeah, all in all, looks complete. Got a front mount PTO on there. Battery might be a little bit on the older side, but it's a Kubota battery. 60-month warranty. What's the chances that thing's still good? Yeah, solid machine. All right, let's get this thing cleaned up and get it pressure washed off. And we're gonna take our time, get this thing put back together. Kind of excited about this one. Hydrostatic. Yeah, she cleaned up all right. Let's see. Still can't tell how many hours are on it. I have to pop that glass off to see.
This would be transmission fluid and acetone.
That's starting to move. I'm just going to start lubing everything up that I can find, y'all. Oh, much better. Stuff's starting to move. Brakes yet? Ugh, nope. Ugh. No brakes yet. All right, y'all. I added some more in the back there coming in from the outside. There's a spring back there. Looks like it connects up to this brake pedal right here. That's greased. And I also sprayed transmission fluid on there and back there. So let's let it sit for a couple days. And I'm going to look for a battery for this thing so that I don't have to keep jumping it. And we'll regroup, because I have to get that mowing deck down. It has to move or else I'm in bad shape, because I think the spindles are frozen, the belt is broken, I don't know what else. Let's see if we can get this thing to fire up. Oh well. I don't hear the fuel pump. It's supposed to be a click-clack fuel pump here in the back. Nope. We're not pushing any kind of fuel here. Unless, I would think that would be closed. I'm smelling diesel fuel, and I would think it should be coming right out of here. It should be a bleeder, right? Strange part was I smelled diesel fuel like she was trying to fire. So about half throttle. That should be my shutoff, right? I don't think I'm getting fuel to this part. And I know that there's a fuel pump, an electric fuel pump back here in the back. There's an electric fuel pump right there. I just started playing with that pump back there, and all of a sudden it started going. So I think we might actually be ready to fire this thing up. Try to warm it up again. Can we get anything on the glow plugs? Oh yeah. Glow plugs are doing something. I hear the pump moving now. want to use either if I don't have to. More glow plugs. I did have fuel coming out of here with just the pump. Ooh, so close. So close. Uh-oh. Know what happened? My pump stopped. Right, doesn't work. Now you're not supposed to freewheel them. I couldn't stop it. Alright, let's see. Oh, I know what the problem is. I gotta get my jump box. Hold on. I'm using electric power to run that. And that battery must be really shot. Okay, y'all hold tight. Alright, y'all, we're back on the Kubota. It's not charging. So I actually already took off the, I forgot the name of this thing. I took it apart. There's really nothing inside there, just some bearings and some magnets. And when I was doing the research and reading, it basically said it's super simple circuit. When you're checking the output of that, you should expect to see somewhere around like 24 volts AC. It's AC current going into there or coming out of it. The problem is usually related to that regulator right there. What we're looking for is a good ground, a good hot, and then that AC power coming into it. Now here's the wires on mine, okay? I've got the two greenish wires. That's my AC power. I have a yellow wire that's not hooked up, and they said sometimes it's not. This red wire should be my positive. Then I've got a black wire. This black wire back here is like a ground wire, and so far everything on this thing has had a bad ground. So I'm going to pull off this regulator and see what that black wire is attached to. It feels like it's underneath the screws for the regulator. So let's get that out of there. Just check the ground, and then if the ground's okay, we'll go ahead and also check for for 12 volt power coming into it. But it's supposed to be a pretty simple circuit. So give me just a second and I'll get this pulled out of here. Ooh. Oh. That thing's gonna break. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We're gonna assume that the ground is no good. Yeah, it's just mashed up underneath there. I'll tell you what, let's just cut this wire. We'll probably extend it, and we'll try to put it on this ground right here. Yeah, I think we can make that work. Let me get some stuff together so we can add a piece of wire, and then we will extend it over to this one, which is, looks like a 12 millimeter. Give me just a second, I'll get it all together. What other checks can I do while I'm here? Could check their positive voltage, make sure we have positive voltage coming to it. DC volts, this on ground, and this on the supply. Yep, so I do have 12 volts going into the rectifier or the regulator. I can verify my ground. Yep, I do have good ground. So the only other two leads are the two that come from the, I'll remember the name of that thing. It's got a real funny name. All right, let's see what we have now. Let's see, right now the battery shows at 12.53. Let's see if we can make it start and see if it is charging anything. All right. Oh, that battery's not that good. That's on glow plugs. It's 11.8. Might have to use a booster pack here. All right, let's see if she starts. All right, stopped the engine and it starts dropping back down to battery voltage. I do have a weak battery, so I know my readings are probably slightly off, but all right, we got the charging part figured out. So I've been able to get the hydrostatic pedal to move. This brake, I finally was able to get it to move. What's occurring is when I push the brake on to engage it, and I pull this back, it's not releasing. All that's right up underneath here. I think the best thing that I need to do, because I need to change out the belt that's back here. I need to basically get into it, right? I want to change out the hydro fluids, things like that. So what I'm going to be doing, and this is going to take a while because everything's all rusted up. So I'm going to pop out this roll pin right here, drive that roll pin out so I can slide this pedal off. Once the pedal's off, I should be able to pull out bolt here, 2 on that side. I need to take off the seat, and then I want to say there's a couple of bolts back here, and then this whole top cover can come off so that we can get to everything a lot better, power wash it out, clean it out, things like that. But it's going to take me a while of breaking bolts and fighting with that roll pin to get it off of there. So let me get that off of there. I'll come back and grab you guys as soon as I get that cover off of there. All right, y'all, the only thing that came off easy was the bolts for the seat. Had to use slide hammer as well as a oxyacetylene torch, try to heat up the shaft of that, heat up that right there, and was able to finally get it off of there. The ones back here in the back, I just had to loosen and they should lift right up, but these 4 all I had to use a bolt extractor to get them out. So let's see if we can get this cover off. Starting to look a little bit better. Got some fiberglass repair to do down here. Maybe we'll give it a shot of paint too. But what I wanted to access was basically all this, and I also need to take off, I think I have to take off that drive shaft right there to get the belt off, because it's got a drive shaft connects through to that belt. This right here was basically getting stuck. The spring can't pull it back, so I'm guessing that that needs to be cleaned up. That grease is starting to wear in, but yeah, I think she needs to be cleaned up a little bit more. Not too terrible though. I really expected it to be a lot worse back here. This drive shaft right here connects through so that I can't change this belt without pulling that drive shaft loose from down here. I might be able to get it sneaked around the fan and stuff, but no matter what, I have to be able to get that drive shaft pulled loose to get that belt out of there. I don't want to bore y'all with all this, but what I'm going to take my time doing is things that aren't quite moving like they should. Like there's a snap ring right there. I'm going to pull it off, get this pulled out, clean up all of that, probably pull this snap ring off of here and get this brake to be able to pull back like it's supposed to. I'm gonna have to disconnect that arm right there. It's a bunch of, you know, snap rings and E-clips and cotter pins, things like that. I'm just gonna pull them off, clean them up, and get them put back on there. Just basically pull it off, clean out all the old grease and everything, get it all cleaned out, put it back on, grease it up. So I'm gonna get all that squared away, because right now this emergency brake, when I engage it and put this on, it won't release. Like right now, when I push that pedal down, that spring should be popping that thing right back up again. So push this down. See how it was sticking on there? So I'm just gonna go back and clean all that up. Probably some wire wheel, some old grease, things like that. and I'll bring you back as soon as I have that stuff cleaned up. Alright, so I pulled off the snap ring here. I had to fight to get this off. Just twist and pull, twist and pull, twist and pull. There was a cotter pin back here I had to pull out, and that was able to get this out. I pulled off and re-greased this snap ring here. There's a washer, and then grease that, and I put the spring back on. Test it together here. See if the brake's on. So, and then if I step on the brake, there we go. That's much better. All right. Now, does it work if I pull the handle? Let's pull that. Pull the handle. There we go. All right, she's starting to come together. A little bit of effort, I guess. I think I'm done for the day. I'll pick back up as soon as I have another free 5 minutes, I guess. All right, y'all, getting the oil changed. 19 millimeter, 3/4 inch, whatever, drain plug. Just about done. So let me get the filter changed out, and I need to figure out what's going on with that wiring right there. All right, now we're going to do the hydrostatic drive, which there's a filter right there we're going to be changing. So I've got the 7/8 plug right here. I already cracked it loose. It holds 7.8 quarts, I believe. So I'm going to have 2 pans handy so that I can transfer as I'm, as the first one gets full. Put that in place. Oh, nice. Drain's kind of slow. That's good. I guess once I take off the fill cap, it'll probably go a lot faster. And take loose the fill cap. I already loosened it up. And she's draining fast now. Let's go ahead and move that. All right. Hopefully get 8 quarts out of it. Roughly, just under. All right, so the 5200 holds engine crankcase 3.2 quarts. The transmission case for the 5200 holds 7.5 quarts. And then there is a service that you have to do as well. See, there's your drain plug. Here's your filter. And then you have something called a strainer that goes through that pipe right there. So that strainer right there goes through the suction pipe. We'll get that changed out too. So basically just pull out that bolt through that banjo bolt, through that fitting. There'll be 2 O-rings. And then that strainer is going to be on the end of that banjo bolt. All right, let's get the hydraulic filter off. I'm going to change it with Napa Gold 1361. That's what it looks like. And then this big line you see down here at the bottom, that's my suction line. And there's a bolt right there on the end, and we're going to be taking that out to get to that strainer. Wow, that was tight. Let's see what that banjo bolt looks like. Well, the screen doesn't look too bad. Let me show you. So it's just some dirt right here. We're going to clean it off, but I expected the whole thing to be full. So let me get it cleaned off. We'll get that put back in. According to my Milwaukee, it should have been 26 millimeter wrench. Get that off there, maybe 25, I don't know. All right, then we're going to give her 7.5 quarts of universal tractor fluid. That's what Kubota calls for. It's going to go right in there, but I am going to pull out the dipstick to allow air to come in. That should help her fill up. It looks a lot different than what came out of there. All right. Let me finish giving her a drink and I'll bring you guys back. All right, so quick update. Right around 7 quarts of filling it, it started coming out of that hole that I was allowing air to come in. So I stopped there, got my pig mat down, trying to soak it up. We're going to start it, let it pump a little bit, and see if it's actually over full or if it's just needs to circulate some. Maybe I was filling it too fast. And I have filled it up with oil already, by the way, the motor. Yep, she's about 1/2 quart low. All right, I guess I was just filling it too fast. Let's get that last 1/2 quart in. Oh, there it goes again, right out that breather hole. Excuse me, right out of the dipstick hole. Well, that was the end of it. All right, so the belt that has plagued me is this one right here. Needs to be changed. I know I can sneak it around the fan and get it out of there, but basically this bottom crankshaft right there, continues all the way back to right here. So I have to get this out. I'm hoping that if I can pull off just a couple of bolts, I might get enough slack, or maybe even pull out these fan bolts here. Maybe that'll allow these sleeves to come off and then give me enough room to pull that belt out after I fish it all the way through. Let's see if we can get it out that way, or if we have to disassemble this entire tractor to get it out. Let's back that up, because it looks like you can stick a screwdriver down through here and wedge it. My fear is that something might be ready to let loose. All right, let me get that one. I'm going to go right where you guys are sitting and get this other one down here. Get those two pulled out. Hopefully those bolts are just threaded into the fan here and slide right out, and then these two metal sleeves come out. All right, it gave me just a little bit of room between the in there. Those sleeves don't come off of there, or at least not easily. So if I can't get it off of there, I'm gonna have to pull that plastic disc off, and I know that plastic disc is very fragile. So if I can't just sneak it right past it, we're gonna end up pulling that plate off. Now it's time to play a little bit of magic. Pull that one loose, and then we should be able to just loosen that bolt a little bit. So basically that bolt threads into here, and then there's a nut on the backside after it's threaded in. Okay, let's see if we can get it fished out. Turning the fan blades, that gets me on that side. Oh, we're off to a good start. This is like a Tetris puzzle. Okay, now we're back here. So if I can't get this to go through there easily, we're going to take off that plastic plate. I've had to change those before on my big tractor. Okay, there's our belt. Found a Gates belt 6732 matched up. I had several belts on in standby. This seems to be the one that's the closest match though. go. Now just reverse order. Easier said than done. There's one spot that's getting tight. I think that radiator shroud coming off might have helped. Maybe not. Might have put it in my way, I'm not sure. Alright, let's get this on the other side of the fan blades. Okay. Now we're on the correct side. I'm gonna get the crank pulley. On the belt of the crank pulley. I'm sure there was an easier way. Alright, that belt's on. Alright, let's get these put back in. Get the dirt out of that breather down there. Maybe like that. Looks pretty nasty, huh? Yep, we're gonna clean that out. That might fall. I knew it was gonna fall. Right into the yucky gasoline. Right into the yucky diesel. Okay. And we'll turn the key on, see if she leaks. I don't see any leaks. We'll fire it up and see if it leaks. Let's see if this battery's got enough juice. I've been having to jump start it. Even though we got the charging system fixed, the battery's just that old. So. Yeah, so she's dead. All right. Well, how much play is supposed to be in there? Our next thing we're going to do, well, not the next thing we're going to do, but I have to get those belts right there changed, and I have those as well. But I want to get the cover back on. I reinforced the back side of it. I'll show you real quick. All right, so I put some fiberglass in here and in here to stiffen up, you know, the brakes. Fiberglass is not straight yet, but I reinforced it so it stopped flexing. We'll put this back on, and then when we go to fix this, we'll do the short strand fiberglass tiger hair. That's what they usually call it. And we'll do that from the outside, but the inside is basically just reinforced. So let's get the cover put back on. Let's trim some of that fiberglass off. We got some new hardware, 8mm by 125s. I had 1-inch bolts. I probably could have used a 3/4 inch. Pedal put back on. Now I had to drill out the roll pin, so it's no longer straight. So what I'm going to have to do is use a nut and a bolt. Let me get that tightened up. Then we'll put the seat on. There you go. I think we rescued one from the grave. You can see the mowing deck's missing off of it. Let me show you what it looks like. So, that pulley's locked up. This one still spins. The PTO still spins. It's hitting on something up here. And then this one's locked up. So, there's quite a bit of metal missing. So I'm not sure if we're going to rebuild this one or not. That thing may just become a tow vehicle of some kind, or I might attach it to a snowblower, something along those lines. So we're not going to do this one in this video. Alright, y'all. Not sure why I want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to change out those two front PTO belts. I have them, but I mean, obviously I've got nothing to run the PTO with right now, but we're going to go ahead and change those belts out anyway. So it looks like this front cover right here is what is hiding everything. I think we might need a bigger boat. And that bolt there. That might be enough. PTO doesn't feel too bad. All right. Those belts aren't too bad a shape at all in comparison to the other one. Let's go ahead and put two brand new belts on. All right, that was pretty easy. Alright, she got new belts, got the fluids changed, got the brake working again, got it charging. I do need to put a battery in it. Other than that, I think she's ready to roll. Let's jump it real quick and we'll do a test drive. They want to point out a few things, right? So the G5200 is a 3-cylinder diesel engine. Total displacement 36.6 cubic inch, 14 horsepower at 3,200 RPMs. Holds 2 gallons of fuel, 3.2 quarts of oil. Transmission is 7.5 US quarts. Hydrostatic transmission. Speeds forward is 0 to 6.5 miles an hour. Reverse is 0 to 3.2 miles per hour. And the weight of this thing, 716.5 pounds. Now I don't know if that's just the tractor. I assume it is without the mowing deck, because you could basically put all kinds of different implements on here. So I was curious how much this thing can tow. We're going to find out though. I'm going to look it up and try to put it in the description. All your lubrication points. I've been lubricating everything as I've been coming across it, because this thing's been sitting for some time. That screen was also stopped up. And we'll do a quick picture of the wiring diagram. And there's your oils. All right, let's fire it up. Take it for a quick drive. Preheat the glow plugs.